The new fallen angel Emily, Adam's transformation into a demon, Lilith's dark plans, and much more are likely to await us in the second season of Hazbin Hotel. Work on it is already in full swing, and if you, like me, follow the news, you will notice that more and more artists or animators are announcing that they are once again working on animation, backgrounds, or something else for the second season of the Hotel from Hell. And I did say that the second season would be relatively soon, and as always, I won't say I was right because it was obvious, especially when the voice actors previously announced that they had finished all the work because it was already likely that they would soon start drawing or animating, and it was obvious to anyone. In general, as I said, the second season of the Hotel is coming up very soon, and it will definitely please us, because we would be tired of waiting for another 4 years. But the speed of release doesn't surprise me personally, because in the modern animation industry, studios often order several seasons at once. The same goes for those radioactive people from the 90s, whose continuation is now being released and hyped in the West. They also ordered 2 seasons at once. After all, there is so much content now that studios need to try to hold our attention, otherwise we will all gather and send American animation far, far away and start watching multi-episode anime with 10,000 episodes. One Piece approves, yeah! And the studio definitely doesn't want to lose the hype around Hazbin, especially since Hazbin became the most watched show on Amazon at the time of its release, alongside only Invincible. And since that's the case, let's theoretically take a look at what the second season of the Hotel has in store for us, what to expect, and which storylines are most likely in the upcoming season. But one thing I know for sure is that if they only give us 8 episodes again in the second season, it would be terrible. The main problem of the entire season was its brevity. It doesn't allow us to truly enjoy the show. Yes, thanks for showing some characters properly, like Angel Dust, but with such a hellish number of charismatic and unique characters as in Hazbin, it's really tight to fit them all in 8 episodes. So the second season of Hazbin Hotel definitely needs at least 10 or 12 episodes, not 8, of course. Otherwise, I will perceive it as a mockery and deprivation of what Vivienne and her hellish universe are capable of, forcing her to work at an unrealistically fast pace, as if she were the Flash, just to show us all the stories. And in the end, we'll get a fraction of a potential content. Well, that's my opinion. However, my name is Dee, and you're watching DeeAnimations channel, and you are on my best channel with cartoons in the universe! Okay, you got it? So, let's consider all the possible things and events from the second season. And I think the first and most obvious of the possible storylines for the second season is a much bigger involvement of the V Trio. Since the end of the last episode, our V trio, Vox, Valentino and Velvet, has been singing and threatening that now Hell will belong to them, and they will rule everyone, and they will bring everyone under their control, and Vox, like never before, enjoyed every second of tormenting Alistair. And although I don't fully understand how these 3 geniuses will threaten to rule Hell, thanks to Charlie, Lucifer, the king of Hell, who no longer cares about Hell, I mean guys, you're gonna oppose Lucifer, what are you gonna do? I agree that Vox and Velvet need development more than ever. The first season just introduced them, showing them as charismatic, but for the most part, in the first season, their 2 were unnecessary. Meanwhile, Valentino has been grabbing attention since the release of the Attic music video. His story of Angel's oppression, all these classic attributes of demon stories with contracts and selling his soul. So far, Valentino is much more charismatic, interesting, and developed than the rest of the trio. And that's not right, but I hope this trio won't just be a goofy villains that the main characters easily brush off, like when Alistair sent Serpentius flying into the space. Otherwise, what's the point of dedicating so much time of the trio? Especially since Vivienne said that they will be given much more time. And if all this turns out to be a comedy and they still don't mean anything for the future 8 episodes, it will be very disappointing. I'm eagerly waiting for the Vox development. He's one of the most interesting character designs. Yeah, he has a huge TV for the face, but it doesn't matter. I don't know, he's cool, and what annoys me is how invincible they made Alistair and praised every move he made. How scary he is, how manipulative, all that stuff, which made me equally annoyed with Vox when Adam gave people to Alistair. As for Velvet, besides her cool singing, it's still unclear who she is. She definitely needs more time dedicated to her. It's not clear what role she plays or how she brings Vox and Valentino together. There seems to be some kind of a conflict between them, but I didn't notice it. I understand that she deals with the fashion, but it's important to pay attention to her as an antagonist. Just coming and singing that she will devour all overlords for breakfast and such, yeah, that's great, but don't just say it, just show it. As for Valentino, I'm calm for now. After all, Angie's storyline of suffering is one of the best and most developed in the series. But the V-Trio as our criminal lords of hell is not the only thing we should expect. We're talking about antagonists, but who are the main antagonists for the entire series? At the moment, it's obvious that it's Heaven with its incredibly strange and inhumane politics, mostly responsible for everything happening in the series. If it weren't for the secret exterminations, no one would oppose Heaven, and without new information, everything looks like a closed loop where Heaven is to blame itself. And in general, what are we talking about when even the angels, even the highest level, has no idea how souls end up in hell or heaven? The situation with the reincarnation of the sinner St. Pentius sacrificing himself and now appearing in heaven for Seraph, a senior seraphim, looks simply mind-blowing. I wonder if she understands how it works or not, or if she doesn't understand anything at all. That's why I believe that the shenanigans with the Heaven and their unclear boundaries and plans are the main storyline, and we haven't even touched on the characters from this heavenly side yet. After all, at the moment, Seraph looks like the main evil in the project, and so far no one in the series has even thought about this possibility of opposing Sarah. But who in reality is capable of doing anything to the current Queen of Heaven? Yes, our heroes have Lucifer, he's a seraphim just like Sarah. However, I'm sure that dealing with Sarah won't be as easy as with Adam, especially considering the huge number of the archangels clearly superior to Adam. For me, an interesting situation arises. In order to defeat the seraphim Sarah, it will take at least 2 seraphim to outnumber her. And where do we find another seraphim who would doubt these ideals of heaven? This brings us to a new intriguing storyline, the seraphim Emily. Emily and her possible fall. And now we come to a new intriguing plotline, Seraphim Emily. She seems to be younger than Lucifer and Sarah, but her unwavering kindness, which emanates from every frame with her, has made her one of the favorite characters of Hazbin, and she herself is like a heavenly version of Charlie, if she were born in heaven instead of hell. Learning directly from Sarah's lies, learning that angels themselves do not know how souls end up in heaven, about the hypocrisy of heaven and Sarah's unwillingness to give anyone a second chance without explaining the reasons, all of this has planted doubt in Emily's heart. And thanks to this and one of the best songs in the series, a duet between Charlie and Emily, the side of our demonic heroes gained possibly the most important ally in history, Emily, a direct opposition to Sarah's dictatorship as a higher-ranking seraphim. But will Emily be able to truly help and come up with something to support our heroes in the name of changing heaven and giving sinners a chance at redemption? This is where my wild interest truly arises. As I am no longer as interested in Charlie's story, which is already being served on a silver platter, as I am in Emily's story. Emily has something to lose. Heaven is her native home, where she spends her eternal life trying to fill it with happiness and joy and not letting the inhabitants of heaven get bored. But learning about Sarah's dark games, she could, of course, go blindly into a battle confrontation, but I doubt that Emily has any chance against Sarah. In that case, will she oppose Sarah politically? That is something I would really like to see, as it reminds me of the debates in the Senate in Star Wars, except in heaven there is no democracy, and being expelled from heaven by Sarah's harsh manipulation will be a punishment for Emily. The probability of Emily, for her audacity and seemingly love for human, being banished from hell like Lucifer, deprived of her true home, has already captivated all the fans of the series, who are already creating numerous comics and artworks with the falling seraphim Emily. But the question is, who will fall? The one who was forcibly kicked out of the heaven, or the one who did not lose hope and sought a bright path for all souls, whether in heaven or hell? I think from my words you can see how Emily's storyline potentially surpasses the entire first season of Hazbin combined, and I really hope that we will all see this. This brings us to an interesting situation. If Emily does fall, what will her meeting with Lucifer, who is still her relative, look like? Will he perceive her as a sister or adopt her? After all, no one besides Emily in such a situation of falling can fully understand Lucifer. He will find a sister in misfortune, so to speak. And from Lucifer, a new plotline starts, and it seems to be the most likely one. In the end, the first season of Hazbin leaves us on a cliffhanger with Lilith. Somewhere in heaven, for some reason, the first wife of Adam and now the wife of Lucifer, and it's extremely interesting to me and all the fans what this lady is doing in heaven. What deal she made with Adam, who was exterminating the population of hell, why she and Lucifer first tempted Eve with an apple, which led to all the troubles in human life. Then set hell against heaven and then abandoned everyone, her husband, the inhabitants of hell, and her daughter, to relax someone in heavenly Bahamas. It is Lilith and her secrets that will most likely be the main focus, or at least Vivian Medrano wants us to think so, otherwise why include this in the end of the season, right? The fan community is not sleeping either, and has already dug up many possible connections of Lilith, saying that she holds Alistair on the leash, but as for me, that will be too obvious. At one point, Alistair sings about freeing himself from the deal and manipulating everyone, and then we're shown a moment with Lilith and who manipulates whom. Alright, I'm just fed up with this. And from here we move on to the next slightly less important branch of the story, but still interesting, namely the dark secrets of Alistair. Who is keeping him on the leash? How did he defeat other overlords without angelic weapons? How did he stand up to the angels in the battle without angelic weapons? With this magical mumbo-jumbo or something? I mean, Husk is understandable, he outplayed and destroyed them like cheap trash, but you get what I mean. Of course, Alistair slightly annoys me in the first season. How everyone smears and licks him, and then in the end, he sits in his tower like a sulking child and says, "I'll free myself and manipulate everyone, ha ha ha!" This really annoys me. He hasn't done anything, but they talk about how cool he is and how he manipulates everyone. I won't enjoy a character who only gathered millions of fangirls with his smile. And if you want Alistair to shine, give him this opportunity. Don't tell me how cool he is and how cool he was, how he held all the hell in fear. Just show it. And you can do it! Remember how he used his friendship with Charlie to tease and mock Lucifer? Now that's what I understand, to show off to the king of hell who could tear you and your soul apart with a simple glance. In general, the motifs of the main manipulator are also an interesting thread for the upcoming second season. Also one of the possible but non-canonical moments in the theoretical reincarnation of Adam as a sinner in hell. Yes, logically, the fanbase has speculated that if Serpentius was reincarnated in heaven, then what's stopping another soul? One that fell into debauchery and sodomy from reincarnating in the opposite direction, especially considering how Hazbin Hotel started. In the pilot episode, there was a scene where Angel Dust joked about what happens after death. I mean, going to the second hell. Something tells me that maybe it wasn't just a joke. Just imagine an Adam-like creature but without a human appearance, coming to the hotel demanding to be returned because that's what the Princess of Hell does, right? The possible appearance of Rue. For Adam, we can easily move on to the next of the currently most popular theories and plotlines, which was probably spoiled long ago by Vivienne herself. I'm talking about the storyline involving Adam's wife, Eve, who suspiciously lacks any information other than the fact that she bit into the apple of knowledge, while Adam, unlike in the original biblical legend, did not eat the apple in Vivienne's universe. Many suspect that because of this, Eve herself became the source of all evil and now exists under the pseudonym Rue, derived from the phrase root of evil. However, the fact that Eve could be the main antagonist of the story, surpassing all demons who are mere humans unable to control their desires, is intriguing. I'm eagerly awaiting the appearance of Rue as an interpretation of devil and a true evil in the Hell universe. After all, images of Rue can be seen in many moments and other projects by Vivienne as the demonic boss. Rue appeared much later than some characters who I find more interesting, namely those from whom it all started, those who knew Lucifer, those who can expel demons by following the lead of Seraphim. We saw their silhouettes behind Lucifer during his song, and probably they're none other than Lucifer's brothers, who, in the original story, both Lucifer and his brothers are archangels. I'm curious why Vivienne made Lucifer a seraphim in her story, and how the hierarchy of angels is not clearly defined yet. Yes, we know about cherubs, the small office workers of heaven, angel fighters, Lieutenant Loopy commanding Adam. The residents of heaven are called winners, so you might as well consider them winners in life. And there are seraphim like Serpentius or Lucifer, but we have never heard the word archangel in the series. And be sure it should have been mentioned. Many franchises that use demon themes place archangels as their top characters. Take for example the recent anime 7 Deadly Sins or the game series Diablo. And why shouldn't the Supreme Angelic Council behind Lucifer be his older brothers? Archangels who know how everything works and how everything came to the chaos that is happening in the Hazbin world. After all, among the archangels, there is even Archangel Azrael, the angel of death. Could it be that Vivienne, inspired by various interpretations of religion, will ignore this? Even when many fans create alternative stories, desiring the appearance of Lucifer's brothers. They could definitely play the role of final antagonist, alongside familiar characters like Adam, Sarah, and Rue, who are mere small fry compared to the big archangels. So, the last question remains, when will the second season of Hazbin Hotel be released? And I don't know the answer, I don't have it! Until Vivienne or Amazon or A24 say something officially, none of us bloggers can make any direct or official statements, so we can only speculate based on our own experience or some unknown rumors. But knowing that Hazbin became one of the most viewed shows in America during the release, and the fanbase showed how happy they are with something like this instead of endless Family Guy, I dare to assume that Hazbin Hotel has proven to the big bosses at Amazon that we need cartoons like this. Well, in that case, the project won't take long to be expected, especially since the voice acting was finished a long time ago, and now it's time for active drawing or animation, as frequently mentioned on Twitter by the cool guys who previously worked on the first season. I think that within a year and a half or maybe so, the second season will definitely be ready. But its readiness doesn't mean it will be released immediately. I'm sure the studios will spend some time on a promotional campaign and also select a favorable time of a year for the project release. So, that's pretty much it. I hope you liked the video, subscribe, like, and I see you guys in the next one.